These two bumps are the greater and lesser tubercles, respectively, important sites for muscles to attach. This is called the deltoid tuberosity of the humerus. This is where the deltoid muscle inserts. Going to the distal aspect of the humerus, this anterior fossa is the coronoid fossa. That's where the coronoid process of the ulna articulates. This posterior fossa is called the olecranon fossa. That's where the olecranon process of the ulna articulates. All of this is the medial condyle, or trochlea. All of that. The trochlear notch, also called the semilunar notch, of the ulna articulates with the medial condyle, or trochlea of the humerus. This lateral condyle is also called the capitulum. The lateral condyle, or capitulum of the humerus, articulates with the head, or capitate, of the radius. Now let's review some of that terminology and let's think about it, and you decide for yourself which terms make the most sense. Do we want to say that the medial condyle of the humerus articulates with the trochlear notch or semilunar notch of the ulna? Or does it make more sense to call the medial condyle the trochlea and say the trochlea of the humerus articulates with the trochlear notch of the ulna? Personally, I think that makes more sense, but you will hear all of the terms used. Likewise, on the lateral aspect, we can say that the lateral condyle of the humerus articulates with the head of the radius. Well, that's true, but doesn't it make more sense to say that the capitulum of the humerus articulates with the capitate of the radius? That makes more sense. But you will hear all of the terms used. Two other important surface features on the distal aspect of the humerus are the lateral epicondyle and the medial epicondyle. This is the ulna. The ulna has this prominent C-shaped aspect proximally. This is the olecranon process, which you know now articulates with the olecranon fossa of the humerus. This is the coronoid process, which articulates with the coronoid fossa of the humerus. At the distal end of the ulna is the styloid process. This is the radial notch of the ulna, which articulates with the head of the radius. This is the trochlear notch or semilunar notch that we've been talking about already in context of the trochlea or medial condyle of the humerus. Let's try to put some of this together. Now I have a right humerus and a right ulna, and I'm going to place the trochlea or medial condyle of the humerus in the trochlear notch of the ulna. I'm going to rotate things a little bit and try to give you some different views. And you can see how, as you flex and extend your elbow, okay, at this point, the coronoid process of the ulna is articulating with the coronoid fossa of the humerus. And as I extend, now you can see it crystal clear, the olecranon process of the ulna. See how, as I go back to extension, the olecranon process of the ulna goes into the olecranon fossa of the humerus. Throughout all of these movements, the medial condyle or the trochlea of the humerus is rotating in the semilunar notch or trochlear notch of the ulna. This is the radius. The proximal aspect of the radius is called the head of the radius. The head of the radius articulates with the lateral condyle of the humerus. Remember that the lateral condyle of the humerus can also be called the capitulum. This prominence right here is called the radial tuberosity. That's where the biceps brachii inserts. And this distal aspect of the radius is called the styloid process.